The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Live tonight from Eldora Speedway in Rossburg, Ohio. We are here for the final race of the Unreal Esports Dirt Late Model Series. Tonight, the Narwhal Bloodbath at Eldora is going to wrap up this championship right here on LSRTV. Happy to have you with us on a Thursday night. David Schildhouse on the call alongside my producer and analyst for this race, the wonder from down under, Brett Wheeler. And Brett, here we are once again at Eldora. One of the meccas of dirt racing to round out this championship fight, and, well, it's basically all over except for the shouting and making some processional laps for one Joshua Hessen, but nonetheless, they do have to go out here, go through heat racing in 75 laps for this feature, so a lot on the line still for these guys. They want to finish up this season strong. Yeah,
of course. You also want to finish out the championship night, with a win and with a bang as well. Just to really cap off that season. So, we'll see. I think we've got about 10, 12, 13 drivers, something like that, signed into the pit area for tonight for these pro late models. But it should be a good night of racing.
And for those wondering, Narwhal Bloodbath is a four-piece metal band from Erie, Pennsylvania. You can go check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/PG/Narwhal Bloodbath. So there you go, pretty fun band name there. A nice metal band if you're into that sort of taste, which I've been known to fancy from time to time. It's good workout music. It's good homework music from time to time as well. It really gets the brain cells going. But nonetheless, here we are, Brett, for Unreal Esports, their championship standings. Like we said, Joshua Hessen at the top by 84 points over Hunter Stifler. So pretty much everything's locked up for Hessen at this point. But from him on back, a lot of things can still be settled in those points for guys like Stifler, Jesse Isidore, Brendan Elshoff, and Raymond Berna as well in the top five.
Yeah, there's still still to play for from second on back. So to finish inside of that top three, of course, as I said, no one's going to be able to catch Joshua Hessen with that 84-point lead. It's still going to be a good battle. Isidore and Stifler. I've seen them before. They're pretty good with these pro late models, and I'm sure there's going to be no different tonight. With this here at Eldora.
And you talk about Eldora, obviously. Of a lot of notoriety and fame within the dirt racing world. Of course, the prelude to the dream, as it were, many years ago was a big draw. Tony Stewart involved at this racetrack as the owner and has really revitalized the dirt track racing scene and done a lot of great things for Eldora. But for a driver to come out here and win, whether it's in iRacing or in the real world, it means a lot when you go to victory lane at Eldora. So for these drivers, that extra little incentive, that ego boost to say they won at the Big E.
Yeah, look, any time you can get a win here on the iRacing service, you're doing a hell of a job. But to do it at Eldora, no doubt, at the end of their 75 laps, I guarantee those we're going to see a lot of these drivers, really put these pro late model cars, really inches from that wall, and it's really it's a fine art, to run that close to the wall. I don't think they'll do it for 75 laps, but I think for at least 2/3 of this race, they're going to be up on this high side of the racetrack. And, to run, let's just say even 25 laps up there, on a consistent basis, it's very, very tough to do.
The drivers right now finishing up their qualifying session, which, of course, will see them for how they get into the heat races in order to set a final lineup for tonight's 75-lap feature. Qualifying appears to be all wrapped up at this point. We're going to have one heat race, I guess it is, with the way things currently sit. So let's take a look at heat race number 1. And the only heat race I think that we're going to see here is going to be JD Sass. Oh, 2 races. You're right. 100% correct. 2 heat races will be on the docket here. Heat race number 1 will be 7 cars. Led to the green flag by JD Sass up front. Raymond Berna there in second. Dylan Hutchinson third. Brendan Elshoff in fourth. Hayden Cardwell 5th, Garrett Pick in 6th, and Kyle Rousey will round up the 7-car field. Looks like we're set for 10 laps here, Brett, tonight for the heat racing. So what are these drivers trying to get from a heat race? Just trying to build a book of experience or something more than that?
I think at this stage, just this early on in the night, with the way how fresh the track is, I guess, just finish up towards the front of your heat race and really get a good starting spot in tonight's main event. So I think we'll see a lot of the guys on the bottom side of the racetrack, for the opening sort of 5 laps. They might move to the middle. You guys, some guys might get sort of really adventurous and just try and run the top side, but I think we'll see a lot of the drivers working the bottom side and trying to fight for that inside line.
iRacing.com pace truck will lead the field here onto the track, and looks a little dark out here. I see those lights starting to turn on as well. So we're racing into the evening here at Eldora, a special site, no doubt, as these boys with the late models going around Eldora. Brett, what makes it about these late models in Eldora that's just such a natural fit?
It's just been so close to that outside wall. Like I said earlier on, you'll see a lot of the drivers, come this feature event, 75 laps. We'll see a lot of drivers, really working that outside line. It's going to be very tough to pass here. The spot that you need to make the pass, for these slide jobs, it needs to happen in 1 and 2. If you can't do it in 1 and 2, well, you can try your luck in 3 and 4. It's a lot easier in 3 and 4 because you want to get the run going into turn 1. Because that's the fastest way around this racetrack. Later on will be the top side, and you'll carry a lot of speed going through turns 1.
We'll see how it all shakes out here for 10 laps in heat race number 1. Pace truck makes its way down onto the safety of pit row. Green flag in the air. JD Sass, Raymond Berna down and away, side by side into turn 1, and 2 side by side behind them in that second row. But it's going to be Berna up on the outside, getting that good run down the back straightaway.
And look how high they are already on this racetrack. 3/4 way up the racetrack. It is going to be Raymond Berna leading in that 202 machine from JD Sass. Then you go back to Elsoff in the 61 and the 95 of Dylan Hutchinson. He's working through the middle of the racetrack as well. So, well, I thought these guys might have been down the bottom side of the racetrack, but turns out they're happy to go up top very, very quickly.
4 cars on track right now. It's Berna, Sass, Elsoff, and Hutchinson. The 4 out there running, led by Berna up top, exactly as you said, Brett. No hesitation for these guys to go all the way up there, and Hutchinson a little too high up the racetrack there, slams the outside wall. Won't be the first time we see that tonight. You try and, like you said, walk that fine line on entry. Sometimes you overstep that bounds and get up in the outside wall, but Elsoff trying to make a move on Sass, trying to poke the nose down now. How can he get it done on the bottom side? It's going to take a big move, but there he goes.
Yeah, Elsoff going to slide from the bottom to the top. That's what they call the slide job. And Elsoff going to take back second. But here comes JD Sass making that move back in turns number 1 and 2. Gets through the middle. He can't quite make it stick through 1 and 2. It's a lot harder in 1 and 2 than what it is in 3 and 4. And well, meanwhile, Elsoff, he's sitting in second right now trying to run down Raymond Berna. 5 down, 5 to go.
Great move there for Elsoff to get that second position away from Sass. You saw him try and fight back and just couldn't make it stick. Now, can Elsoff track down Berna and take that lead away? Berna's been leading since the drop of that green flag. Be 4 laps to go this time by, but Elsoff right on the back bumper, down low.
Yeah, Elsoff going to look for that slide job in turn 1 and 2. He makes the move, but Berna keeps the foot in the bucket on the outside. He got the wall in the exit of turn 2. Moved the 61 of Brendan Elsoff to the race lead. And it took him 7 laps, but he got it done.
A nice move there. Here comes Berna one more time down low. Just not able to get the traction that he needs. That car slides up, not able to push forward there. So Elsoff establishes the lead now in the closing stages of this heat race. Don't forget about JD Sass. He's applying a lot of pressure to the back bumper of Berna. It's going to be 2 laps to go now.
Yeah, 2 to go as they make their way down the back straight away. Brendan Elsoff, your race leader. Raymond Berna sitting in second. Here comes JD Sass, who's sitting in second. I think in second or third in points actually coming into tonight. So he's now going to move into second spot only briefly, momentarily, as they get the white flag. The battle is on for second and third.
Into turn 3 for the last time. It's going to be Brendan Elsoff through 3 and 4 up on the high side. Made it work in the late goings. He's going to get back to that checkered flag first. Good fight for second is going to go to the 202 of Raymond Berna, and a nail-biter across the line with JD Sass there in third. Dylan Hutchinson comes home in that 4th position. So a nice little battle between these top 3. And that was just a 10-lap preview of what's going to be a nice long evening of racing here, as the lights will increase and intensify here into the late evening stages at Eldora. But pretty exciting stuff up front there.
Yeah, it was, and in fact, I did say there was going to be 2 heat races. That's in fact incorrect. In fact, I did forget that they were taking, I believe, the top 6 from qualifying and putting them at the front of the pack. So, now these guys are going to have a warm-up session, and this is going to be critical because, we've just seen the sunset. The lights are turned on now. We're in full dark night time, and this is where the track is, really going to start to wear out. So we'll see these drivers, really make some adjustments to their race cars.
And taking a look at the current in-sim time, sitting at about 8:30 in the evening out here in Ohio. So yeah, definitely full night time. The lights are on. Racing under the lights at Eldora, the way that it was meant to be, I would say. And, for these 13 drivers, they're going to take this green flag. Got a little bit of warm-up here, just working in the track a little bit to get it racy. We didn't see too much other than racing around the top there, but when the time came to make that pass, drivers were able to go down low and execute.
Yeah, no, of course, I did say that I expected a lot of the guys to be on the bottom side. They actually proved me wrong because, they weren't afraid to, to keep it on the top side of the racetrack early on in that heat race. And if that's something to go off, I think we're going to see a lot of drivers, fighting for that top spot or that top line on the racetrack in the opening, probably 5 to 10 laps. And then I think, once they sort of, settle down and, get into a rhythm, I think we might see some slide jobs later on tonight.
And if you're wondering about this Unreal Esports League that you're watching here on LSRTV, it started as a small sim racing graphics page in late 2018 and has since become a thriving sim racing team and league. Team Unreal participates in iRacing special events, while the various series Unreal Esports puts on covers all kinds of oval racing. Dirt, short track, speedway, you name it, they do it. So you can check out Unreal Esports at facebook.com/Unreal Esports Media. And pretty cool, humble beginnings for these guys at Unreal to think about. They were just a graphics page for sim racing and decided to go, well, actual racing, not just painting the cars, but putting the cars on the track and participating. And they've done a very nice job. Andrew Cardinale heading up this operation, and to see a league go through a season, crowned a champion, that's no small feat in sim racing. They've done that here, wrapping it up tonight at Eldora. So a tip of the cap to the guys at Unreal Esports. From what we understand, Brett, it's been a very competitive, inspiring season of racing, and they've had over 20 cars show up week in, week out. Not quite that same amount here tonight, but been good participation. That's a sign of a good, healthy league.
Of course it is. First season, you're not expecting to, to set the world on fire. You want to establish those grounds first, get those numbers, get the good racing happening, and that's what's happened, throughout the season. No doubt, moving forward, they're only going to get bigger and bigger, and that's what you want to see. With the smaller guys, there's a lot of leagues out there, and a lot of them, I wouldn't say fail, but they tend to fall off if they don't get the numbers and whatnot. With averaging 20 odd numbers a night, that's a pretty good healthy car count.
Again, of course, sponsor of tonight's event, Narwhal Bloodbath. You might be wondering, what in the world is Narwhal Bloodbath? A 4-piece metal band from Erie, Pennsylvania. I have been to Pennsylvania, Brett. I can tell you one time I went to Pocono, Pennsylvania in 2011. It is a highly wooded, foresty area. It rained a lot, but it was beautiful in the mountains, the Pocono Mountains out there. And so these guys from nearby Erie, Pennsylvania, and you can follow Narwhal Bloodbath on Facebook at facebook.com/PG/Narwhal Bloodbath. So apparently those guys are racing fans as well. They've probably been to Pocono themselves, the Tricky Triangle out there. But to have them come on board and sponsor this season-ending event, pretty cool to see a metal band get into racing.
Yeah, they might be able to get us some music to be played on a broadcast or a live stream one time. Whether it's here or whether it's one of the other ultimate Dirt TV broadcasts or something like that. I'm sure we can work something out to showcase what they do. I'm sure they do some fantastic work.
It's not a bad idea. That might be a partnership in the works there between LSRTV and Narwhal Bloodbath to get some exciting blood-pumping music going for the broadcast here. And, speaking of partnerships with LSRTV, I want to say big thanks, of course, to the Ford Entertainment Group as well. We'll touch on them a little bit later tonight, but they involved in the iRacing community with custom-built affordable computers, specifically built and tuned for iRacing. You order through them, your PC will come with everything that you need preloaded, so you can get racing as soon as it hits your doorstep. Get yours today and join the 600-plus iRacers already enjoying their Ford Entertainment Group PC. PCs ready to fit any budget from $540 and up. You can visit fegpc.net and mention code LSRTV10 to get your build quoted today. Again, that's www.fegpc.net. Mention code LSRTV to get your build quoted today. So big thanks to fine folks at Ford Entertainment Group as well, as we roll on through the closing minutes of warm-up here. About a minute and a half left in this. So Brett, based off the brief little racing that we saw in that heat race, 10 laps to be exact, as they work in this track now, what are you seeing out there to tip the cap of what we might be expecting for 75 laps in the feature?
Just look at the different colors in the dirt. From the top side, right up near the wall, it's got that lighter dirt. That's where a lot of the drivers have been running in this practice session. Whereas you look at, 3/4 of the way down the straightaways, you see that darker dirt where, there's still a lot of moisture, down on that racetrack. It's all a matter of preference and how you set your cars up, of course. While these drivers are, running up and close to that wall, what they're doing right now is they're actually building that cushion. Once they get that cushion worked in, with the new build, I haven't really seen too much late model action over the past couple of weeks, but I believe they've somewhat slowed the cushion down a little bit. So, this is where you might see drivers, really start to use that bottom side to find that moisture down the bottom and, really find that grip as well.
Well, that's what we were promised as we were talking with Andrew Cardinale before the race, before this event went live, is, they're letting the track state carry over. They're not resetting the track state every time we change sessions from practice to qualifying to the heat race to now going into the feature. And that's why you're seeing these guys hit the track as hard as they are and work that upper groove to try and give themselves, more racing room. That's one of the beauties of dirt racing, Brett, is you work the track more, you're going to change the way that it drives, and these guys are more than happy to do that.
Yeah, the track changes every lap. No matter how many cars you got on the racetrack, if you put 10 cars to run the top side in, the top side's going to get a lot slicker. Whereas if you run on the bottom side, obviously the moisture will move up the racetrack, and that's where you really see different lines coming into play.
Practice warm-up session is complete. Cars are starting to hit the grid, so let's take a look at tonight's starting lineup for the way they'll roll off for the 75-lap feature here. Round number 12 of the Unreal Esports Dirt Late Model Series here at Eldora. It's going to be Andrew Hawkins leading him to the green flag. He'll be joined on the front row by Joshua Hessen, your points leader and soon-to-be series champion. Row number 2 will be featuring Chris Beck and Andrew Cardinale. Row number 3, Jesse Isidore along with Dustin Hall. Row number 4 will be Brendan Elshoff and Raymond Berna. Row number 5, JD Sass, Dylan Hutchinson. Row 6 will have Kyle Rousey and Hayden Cardwell. Garrett Pick will be lined up by himself in row number 7 to round out this 13-car field. All set for 75 laps of racing action. Brett, I think we're going to see a pretty cool show here. Typically when you see these smaller fields, the quality of racing jumps up. It
certainly does, and what that also does is, if you got those smaller fields, generally you generally tend to see less cautions, and what that means, less cautions mean more green flag laps, and well, more green flag laps means more action on the racetrack. I'll go put this out there to you. Who do you think is going to win this one tonight?
All right, let's do a little pre-race prediction here. Let's take a look through the field. It's hard to go against the points leader, but I'll rule him out. I'll say that I can't pick him. I'm going to go with the driver of the 515, Jesse Isidore. I think he's the guy that, based off of what I've seen and what I know, I think he might be a challenger for the win tonight. Who you got?
Look, I'll have to pick the elephant in the room. I'll go with the points leader and the points champion, Joshua Hessen. I'll be that guy. I'll pick the obvious choice.
Fair enough. No better way to cap off a season and a championship than with a win in the series finale. But nonetheless, pace truck is off. Field in the hands of Andrew Hawkins. He is on the loud pedal. Green flag is out underway here for 75 laps of racing action at Eldora. Down to turns 1 and 2 they go. Everyone sideways, 3 wide in the middle of the field.
Yeah, 3 wide right now. Jesse Isidore just falling back from that 3 wide action. Here comes Chris Beck right through the middle of the racetrack in that number 2 machine. But meanwhile, battle on for the race lead. Hessen going to take, he's going to get a slide job from Hawkins. Hessen going to move back to the inside. Here comes Chris Beck as well, back up on the inside. Nearly 3 wide for the race lead.
Wow, look at this racing action. 3 wide off of turn 4 at Eldora. Oh, he's going to get turned up in front of the field, up and over he will go. And there's the 118. I believe Joshua Hessen, your points leader, up and over on the front straightaway.
Yeah, I didn't pick him either. We'll take a look at your LSRTV replay here on that one. It was, look, very chaotic to start this one. A lot of slide jobs happening early on. And unfortunately, points leader, although he's pretty much got this one wrapped up in the book, he just come up just a little bit there on Kyle Beck. There's contact. And the left front fender of Kyle Beck just took him into the right rear there of Joshua Hessen. Unfortunately, he goes around upside down. There's a substantial amount of damage on that race car, and that's going to require the virtual tow truck.
Not the way you wanted to see that one go, but I guess he's thanking his lucky stars. He's got the big points lead, so an early exit from tonight's race isn't going to be absolutely catastrophic for him. But yeah, 3-wide action up front, just didn't quite have the room to try and make that one work. And a little bit of a squeeze, a little bit of a push, and around he went. And about the worst point on the track that he could go, up and over. That's quite the wreck to see on the dirt track here at Eldora.
So that means because it happened inside of 5 laps, I get another pick, right? That's the way this that's the way these rules work. I'm just sort of making it up as we go along.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Pick another driver. Who you got now? Take 2.
Well, seeing as though I've already picked someone, they've already crashed. I'm guessing that the next guy I pick's going to crash again because, well, you know, I'm sure it's going to come in 3. So, you know what, we'll go with Dustin. No, I was going to say Dustin Hall. Yeah, we'll stick with Dustin Hall. Sorry, okay, Dustin. Sorry. I'm going to say sorry just in advance because I get the feeling in about 7 or 8 laps, he may be the next caution.
Yeah, he might be flipping as well, and then third time will be the charm for you. We might just have to give you picks until we run out of drivers for you to choose from, but nonetheless, I believe we're going to be set to go back to racing action here. Lights are out atop the iRacing.com pace truck, and it's going to be Chris Beck leading this field through, looking to get the green flag back out here over the field. Indeed, pace truck down and away, Beck onto the throttle, green flag back out here, starting lap number 7. Good clean getaway. There's your man, Dustin Hall, up top in that 331, riding the rim around there, under attack from Jesse Isidore, holds on to second.
Yeah, Beck going to lead through turns 3 and 4. Dustin Hall is in second. Jesse Isidore in third. Isidore went on the low side of the racetrack, doing it very early on in the race, as you know, pretty much as I suspected. But no doubt, you know, coming about lap 25, I dare say that we're going to start to see these drivers move back up to the top of the racetrack. But meanwhile, Chris Beck in the number 2 C car out in front.
Everybody a little more organized, a little cleaner. Oh, Hall up into the wall just a little bit. Tank slaps it, gets it back under power and under control. He'll hold on to that second position. Jesse Isidore there in third. But yeah, look at the difference in lanes, Brad. Good point. Up in what we saw the heat race, everyone in that upper groove. Now a lot of guys favoring the middle and even the bottom. Seemingly all lanes working at this point as that visible change has occurred to the racing surface.
I was just looking at, you know, where Dustin Hall was running in the 331, that red and yellow car. He was running the top side in 1 and 2 and running sort of the middle in 3 and 4. He's going through the middle. Look at Isidore. He's way lower than what Dustin Hall is at the moment. And looking at lap times, they were very, very similar. A couple of laps ago, they're going to be different kind of lap times right now because of that mistake from Isidore. But knowing that, you know, the top, you know, can work in 1 and 2, as long as you get to the bottom in 3 and 4, you'll be fine. Yellow flag going to come out.
Still green, actually, for the time being. Did we have a spin on the track somewhere?
I'm not sure. Maybe the ticker wasn't sort of updating the green. Yeah, we'll go back to action.
Phantom yellow, but nonetheless, we stay green for the time being. Lap 13 up on the board. Chris Beck still leading this field. Dustin Hall there in second. Jesse Isidore in third. And it's, again, pretty calm for the most part all the way around. Now, I guess it was a delayed yellow flag, Brett. We threw it out there a little early, but we got a little bit of a dust up here. And again, for the second time tonight, it's Joshua Hessen who's around at the bottom of turns 3 and 4.
Well, just when you pick someone you think they're going to win, it was actually, I think he was actually trying to get back on pit road. Here as we take a look at your LSRTV replay, just rolling through turns 3 and 4. He was a lot slower. In fact, did a little bit of a bump there from your race leader, Chris Beck, and then tried to turn it in, and unfortunately just didn't quite get the turn in that he would have hoped for.
A rough night gets a little bit rougher for Hessen. I think he's just going to park it at this point. He was already many, many laps down. No hope to get back into contention for this race after the damage he sustained in our first yellow flag where he went barrel rolling through turns 1 and 2. So I think he's just going to enjoy the closing laps of this season, the last 60 laps or so. from the safety of pit road and watch these boys duke it out while he prepares to claim his championship. But again, it's got to be feeling a little bit of disappointment knowing that he's not going to get the result and the finish to the season he was hoping for.
It always, like, no lie, it always sucks, when you don't finish a race, this early on in such a long race, what was it, inside of 5 laps, means that his night was pretty much done and dusted. And at that point, you think, why did it happen so early? But I guess when you're racing for position, every driver wants to take every spot that they can, no matter what lap it's on.
That's a fair point. That is the nature of the race car driver. Pace truck back to pit road. Chris Beck, Dustin Hall on the front row. Green flag back out, starting lap number 17. Beck drives it deep into turns 1 and 2, goes right up to that cushion, but here comes the crossover. Hall looking down low.
Yeah, Hall's got the run down on the bottom side, going into turn number 3 and 4. Chris Beck working 3/4 of the way up the racetrack off of turn number 4. Dustin Hall, he's going to lead lap number 17, but don't count out Chris Beck or Jesse Isidore right now. Contact as they exit turn number 2. Thankfully, these big late models, they can take a bit of a beating before they ended up getting bruised.
Oh, that was an absolute door check, and it barely looked like it upset either their cars at all through the corner. Like you said, these big tanks of race cars as Beck is up into the wall, now making contact with JD Sass there down the back straightaway. They can certainly take a beating and keep on ticking. Licking and tick. I can't even rhyme at this point. But really good racing action, but nonetheless, Jesse Isidore is through into the 2nd position. Beck fights back on the outside to hold on to 3rd. Sass up there to 4th. Haven't talked about Sass a lot yet in this feature. Now he's under fire from Brendan Elsoff. Yeah,
Elsoff picked up that heat win earlier on, that opening heat of the night. So, he's now going to slide job the 22 car. That's JD Sass. But Sass going to move it back underneath him now, down into turn number 3. So, good battle going on for 4th and 5th. Meanwhile, Chris Beck still trying to put the pressure on Jesse Isidore in that 515 car. Meanwhile, Dustin Hall out in front, run on the top side of the racetrack now. Time-wise, we look at Dustin Hall running top 1 and 2, top 3 and 4. Last lap was a 16.299. Jesse Isidore running through the middle was a 16.276. That's not a whole lot of time. Again, Sass, he was a 10th quicker on that lap running the middle. That time he makes a mistake in 1 and 2, leaves the door open for Chris Beck, and Beck going to fight back up on the outside going into 3.
Outstanding battle here for the 2nd position between Jesse Isidore and Chris Beck. Just lap by lap. They go side by side through 1 and 2. Again, no real advantage for either lane. And, if you're the leader, Dustin Hall, you look up in the rearview mirror, you got to love what you're seeing. No, these guys are fighting it out. He's able to pull away just a little bit, but this fight for 2nd continues. Isidore giving everything he can on the bottom, but that top side just a little bit stronger right now.
Yeah, and I think that middle side is just starting just to fade away a little bit. Either that or the top side right in the cushion. It's just starting to get that little bit faster as well, so take it either way. Meanwhile, Chris Beck got a good run through 3 and 4, really closed the gap on Dustin Hall, but he's going to make a mistake as well as Isidore in turns 1 and 2. They both clipped the wall, and they got stuck in the wall for about half a second. But meanwhile, still Dustin Hall leads by about 1 point, or nearly 1 second almost now.
It's the same mistake that I'm seeing throughout this field, especially going into turn 1. Just way too much angle, way too much speed at the top of the track, and they're stuffing the right rear into the outside fence. Just about every car that I can see has damage to the right rear, and I'm not sure if they're just forgetting that they're in bigger vehicles or just pushing too hard on entry, but a lot of guys eating up that wall, but they bounce right back from it and keep on rolling. If they get it right, look at this big dive from Chris Beck down to the bottom. He's looking to get the lead away right now from Dustin Hall. That's a huge lunge.
Yeah, he lost the lead about 12 laps ago, and he's fought hard to fight back and try and get back to the 331. He's done that. Where's Beck going to go? He's going to go through the middle of 3 and 4. Dustin Hall going to still work to the outside, side by side as they come off turn number 4. Dustin Hall continues to lead this field into turn number 1 and 2, but hasn't got it easy at the moment because Chris Beck, he's all over him like a fat kid on a cupcake.
Well, there's the first great analogy of the night, and nonetheless, Dustin Hall will hold on to the lead. Cupcake sounds pretty good right now. These guys aren't cupcakes themselves. They are absolutely wheeling it around Eldora as I look inside the cockpits of these guys, and they are just elbows up, sawing away, trying to make some hay. And again, Chris Beck on the bottom, trying to make it work, but so much momentum up top for Dustin Hall as that line continues to get worked in. I see more and more of that dirt and dust rolling away. More of that bare surface coming up on the high side. He's making it work absolutely. Two great lanes working around Eldora. That's why the fans love coming out to this racetrack to see racing like this.
And I'll tell you why they hit the wall. Keep an eye when they go into turns 1 and turns 3. When they get on the top side, you'll see the right side rear end of the race car. It picks up what it is. They're actually entering in on the cushion, and they try and get the drive off it. You'll see when they, just as they go into into the turns, that's where you want to hit it. If there's a very fine line in hitting it and jumping the cushion, and that's where you'll see the drive. And as you've seen earlier on, that's the difference between being fast and also tank slapping that wall.
The old tank slapper. It looks good when you make it work and you save it. Otherwise, you don't look too good at all. As they work past the 224 of Andrew Hawkins here, he's working the bottom side to put him 1 lap down. 35 laps up on the board right now. Again, this lead battle is absolutely fantastic as Hall up into the fence. Back trying to capitalize, nothing doing. One more time down the back straightaway. I'm going to put lap 37 on the board, but I'll see a lot of traffic there in front of our leaders now.
Yeah, it's one thing we generally talk about as well. Lap traffic always plays a factor in these longer races. Right now, Dustin Hall, he's got around, there's contact there with the 21 of Kyle Rousey. Meanwhile, look at Beck rolling right through the middle. They go 3 wide with the lap car. Hall on the top side. Chris Beck through the middle. They get by that lapper. I believe that's Raymond Berner. And, well, now Dustin Hall and Chris Beck, they're going to pull away from the rest of the field even more. They've got nearly a 2-second gap. Back to Brendan Elsoff, who's in third. He got by Jesse Isidore for that 3rd spot.
Quite the clinic being put on here as we've crossed the halfway point in this race. So quickly, let's take a look at tonight's Ford Entertainment Group Midway race break as they run right now. On lap 39, it is Dustin Hall out front. Chris Beck there in 2nd. Brendan Elsoff 3rd. Jesse Isidore there in 4th. JD Sass 5th. Andrew Cardinale in 6th. Dylan Hutchinson 7th. Raymond Berna 8th. 1 lap down along with Kyle Rousey in 9th. Andrew Hawkins 10th. Joshua Hessen, the points leader. Rough night for him. He's going to finish 11th. Hayden Cardwell 12th. And Garrett Pick 13th and last here tonight. And that's been a look at your Ford Entertainment Group Midway break. 41 laps up on the board. Chris Beck and Dustin Hall absolutely duking it out here at Eldora. Happy to have you with us on LSRTV. David Schildhouse, Brett Wheeler, enjoying the show and quite the entertaining battle up front. One more time, Dustin Hall up into the wall. Chris Beck closes in.
Yeah, it's a case of, as I said, jumping that cushion on the entry to the turns, and really can halter your run right in the center of the turns. We'll see. It's not the only time he's going to do it for the rest of the night. We've still got 34 laps to go here in this main event. So, and Dustin Hall, I did get a second chance. I'll see if he can hang on to this one. Meanwhile, your pick, Jesse Isidore, back in 4th spot, and he's having a tough time right now because, well, he's got some pressure as well from Kyle Rousey, who's on the inside, which in fact is a lap car. So, Jesse Isidore having a tough time in the 5:15 trying to get by these lappers.
Yeah, he certainly is. He pitches in the wall one more time and gives a little bit of a nudge there to Raymond Berna to let him know he's coming through, but now he's free and clear of the lap traffic. So, yeah, my pick to win here tonight, Jesse Isidore there in 4th. At least he hasn't flipped yet, I'll say that. And your, let's see, who did you pick the second time around?
Dustin Hall.
How's he doing? I think he's doing okay.
Yeah. See, look, I'm one up on you.
You certainly are, and that second chance at a pick is panning out well for you for the time being, as we're now 30 laps to go here at Eldora. Dustin Hall opening up a little bit of a bigger lead now over Chris Beck, and I think the overall pace in that 331 is not going to matter because we're going to go under the yellow flag one more time.
All right, didn't see who that was there. Let's see if we can get a look on the LSRTV replay.
That's Raymond Berna and Kyle Rousey down the back straightaway, just getting hooked together, and really just 2 cars in a space off of turn 2 where there's only room for 1.
Have a look here at your LSRTV instant replay. Kyle Rousey in the 21 on the inside. Yeah, just made contact in the middle of 1 and 2, and both cars getting hooked together on the back straightaway brings out the caution. And what that is going to do is that's going to bring Dustin Hall, Chris Beck back into the clutches of Brendan Elsoff as well. So yeah, he's been fast here tonight, and we'll see what he's got for these top 2 drivers. As I said, he really started to to clear away from the rest of the field. These top 2 drivers out in front.
Well, much like you had a second lease on life with a new race winner pick after Joshua Hessen crashed, Jesse Isidore, Brendan Elsoff, JD Sass have a second lease at life when it comes to winning here tonight, possibly, with the two leaders coming back to them by way of this caution flag. So that does change the complexity of things here just a little bit, although we've seen so much pace out of those top two, Dustin Hall and Chris Beck. Specifically, I'm not sure it really matters how close they are to these guys because they get a great launch, and just the lap-over-lap pace that they can keep is just superior to everybody else. Why do you think that is?
So it could be set up, just smoother on the throttle, not hitting the wall on the entry to the turns, getting the run through the, the center of the turns, or even on the entry. Exit speed is a big thing as well here, just keeping momentum up, being nice and smooth.
Smooth is the key word there, and lights are still on atop the pace car. They were off, I believe, and now have just come back on, so we'll extend this yellow by 1 lap. And again, want to remind you that the midway race break was brought to you by Ford Entertainment Group, serving the iRacing community with custom-built, affordable computers specifically built and tuned for iRacing. PC will come with everything you need preloaded, so you can get racing as soon as it hits your doorstep. You can get yours today and join the 600-plus iRacers already enjoying an FEG PC. Built to fit every budget from $540 and up, visit fegpc.net, mention code LSRTV to get your build quoted today. That's fegpc.net. Big thanks to Ford Entertainment Group, and big thanks to Narwhal Bloodbath for sponsoring tonight's race at Eldora. Pace truck down and away, and so is Dustin Hall. He is gone. Green flag back in the air here, starting lap 52.
Interesting that to note that they went to single file restarts on that one as well. So normally we did see double file restarts. Meanwhile, battle on for third. Jesse Isidore looking on the inside on Brendan Elsoff through turns 3 and 4. Chris Beck as well trying to stick a nose down to the inside in 3 and 4, but they go to 1 and 2. And both drivers, Dustin Hall, Chris Beck, going to start to pull away from the rest of the field once again.
Indeed, that caution not able to benefit the likes of Elsoff and Isidore as the top two start to drive away. Just pure pace out of them. And even though they're battling each other, they're still able to be fast enough to drive away from Elsoff, Isidore, and the rest of the field. But again, Dustin Hall out front in the 331, hooking it around the top side for the time being. We see Chris Beck make lunges down to the bottom, trying to cut into that just a little bit, but so far it hasn't worked for him.
I did say we're going to see a lot of drivers work the outside of the racetrack, about these last 25 laps. We're sitting at about 20 laps to go this time by, and we are seeing Dustin Hall. He hasn't really gone off the top side in those last. He hasn't got off the top side in those last 25 laps, so he's certainly got the setup at the moment. It's just a matter of can he hang on for these final 20, because Chris Beck, once again, he has got a phenomenal run out of turn 2. He's going to look down low, down into 3 and 4, pull the big slide job, and Dustin Hall going to turn it back underneath. Battle on for the lead.
They're serving up sliders now, just like White Castle. Both of them up into the wall, and that's going to push Hall ahead just a little bit there, but Beck right on the back bumper as well. Things have definitely heated up one more time. Through 3 and 4, down to the bottom goes Chris Beck. Cannot make that slide job work there as Hall will hold him off.
Yeah, through the middle of 3 and 4, Chris Beck, you see the car just pull up just a little bit. He obviously knew that he was never going to get clear of Dustin Hall to pull that slider. So what he did is he rolled out of the throttle and kept it in the middle of the racetrack, just similar to what Dustin Hall did just then, knowing that, the run out of turn 2 wasn't all that great. Dustin Hall into the wall, Chris Beck to the race lead, but Dustin Hall back to the inside, contact down the back straight away. Chris Beck back to the race lead, and look at the 61. He's just been slowly but surely reeling these two guys in. Brendan Elsoff in the 61, who picked up the heat win. He's got every chance at picking up a win here tonight.
He is absolutely sprung to life here in the closing stage. There's going to be 15 laps to go this time by. New race leader Chris Beck in the number 4 out front. Took it away from Dustin Hall when he slipped up and got into the fence just a little bit. Now he's got to try and rebound from that mistake if he's going to get back to the point. But yeah, new player there in third, Brandon Elsoff, doing a great job to reel these two in as they have been fighting, but that top side slicking off so much, it's no wonder everyone's up into the wall every time they go into these corners. But now 15 laps to go. It is the fight for the lead that we're going to keep watching. One more time, Dustin Hall down low, but loses all that momentum. Beck drives away. Yeah,
turn 1 and 2 is not the place to throw the big slider in. You want to do it in 3 and 4, so when you go into 1 and 2, you want to make sure that when you've thrown that slider, you want to be that lead car. to get to 1 and 2, to get to the top side first, because that's where you carry a lot more speed than what you do in 3 and 4. So Dustin Hall, maybe he'll learn from that mistake, maybe he won't. We'll have to see how this one plays out. 12 laps to go. Chris Beck back to the lead. He led the opening 17 laps, I think it was, and then Dustin Hall took it away from him, and Dustin Hall led a good chunk of this number of laps, and well, Chris Beck now back to the race lead in these closing stages.
It's going to be a lot of pressure on Chris Beck to hold on to that lead, knowing he's got a driver like Dustin Hall behind him who has led so much of this race and lost it on a mistake. Got to be fueling that drive back up to the front. So this thing's far from over. 10 laps to go this time by, rather. Brendan Elsoff has fallen off just a little bit from these top two. So once again, now that they're done fighting and scrapping for the time being, pulling away from third place, both these drivers up into the fence each and every time. It almost seems like it might be intentional to help them rotate the car a little bit better, but we've seen, Brett, there's one way to do it where you just kiss that right rear and everything's fine and you can drive away, and then there's a bad way to do it like we saw there with Dustin Hall where it actually brings the right side of the car up into the fence so you're parallel with it. That's not the way to do it. No,
definitely not. As we're going to complete lap number 67 of this 75-lap main event. Chris Beck is really starting to show why he's really capable of winning this one, why he's been super fast here all night and putting that car on the front row for the main event. He's a 10th quicker. Last 3 or 4 laps, he's been a 10th quicker than what Dustin Hall has. Of course, Dustin Hall continuing to make those mistakes in 1 and 2. He's not really making those mistakes in 3 and 4. It's that entry point into turn 1 that's really sort of hurting that 3:31 entry. But also, you talk about lap times. The drivers, their fastest lap time from what the lap times we're seeing right now. I'm talking about, well, Dustin Hall it was 2 tenths slower, but the track is really starting to fall off here. Dustin Hall, he's got a great run. He's caught up to the back of Chris Beck right now.
Absolutely has. He has put that lead away and now going to try and make a loop. Look at the defensive line there from Chris Beck, and he gets a lot of rotation as a result out of Hall. But look at the launch down turn 2, down the back straightaway. Dustin Hall to the inside. He's going to pull the slide job here. Does not complete it, though, as Beck will fight back on the high side into the closing stages. 4 laps to go.
4 to go. Chris Beck, your race leader. Dustin Hall once again catches the wall in the center of 1 and 2. Oh! He's just turned him. That will bring out the caution. And of course, our point of no return. We will not get another lap in because this one is going to finish under yellow. And was that a case of maybe take a look on the replay here? Is there something wrong with the 2 car? Maybe fuel?
It was reactionary.
Maybe let's take a look.
It was Kyle Rousey in the 21 that was slow off a 2, I think. And Chris Beck, I think, just responded, not sure where he was going to go. And I don't think Dustin Hall really had time to lift and went right into the back of him.
Yeah, he really slowed up big time. Get it on board of the Kyle Beck shot here to see how much he actually lifts off the throttle. Oh yeah, he was way off the throttle. It almost sounded like it was spluttering, but I guess that's, your foot on and off the throttle all the time.
That's a curious, I mean, I think, I don't know. Well, we only 2 guys know really what happened on the track right there, and those are the 2 that were holding the steering wheel. But for Chris Beck, I think he wasn't sure where the 21 was going to be at that point and just got out of the throttle in a terrible position when you expect cars to be full throttle. And yeah, around he goes, and that puts Dustin Hall out front in a weird circumstance, but nonetheless, that's going to bring an end to this race, and I believe that's going to be Dustin Hall reporting to victory lane.
Well, of course, they'll have to go through race control first, but I mean, surely you'd have to put that, like, okay, and I'm not saying this just because he picked him. I picked Dustin Hall to win, but do you classify that as a racing deal? Because with what we've seen and how close the racing is up front, I mean, of course, as I said, race control will have to go back and double check that.
We'll see how.
I'm going to put a hypothetical out there. If you're in race control, what would you do?
If I'm in race control, Dustin Hall's going to victory lane. Yep. He had nowhere to go at that point as Chris Beck was trying to avoid a car in front of him. And so it's not like Hall dumped him or wrecked him or anything, as the checker flag is out over Dustin Hall at this point. But if I'm race control, that finish is as they came across the line, in my opinion. So we will see. I'll tell you what, Brett, let's do this. Let's take a commercial break. On the other side of it, we'll come back, hopefully have some official results for you, tell you where your favorite driver finished, and talk to your top 3 finishers watching the Unreal Esports Dirt Late Model Series right here on LSRTV.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original eSport racing game. This is iRacing.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSRTV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Live Sim Racing LLC and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations. LSRTV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.
Back live at Eldora Speedway, Rossburg, Ohio. The Narwhal Bloodbath at Eldora for the Unreal Esports Dirt Late Model Series is complete. 75 laps are done and dusted. Let's take a look at the way they came across the line. As this stands right now, Dustin Hall is the man who will win this event to round out the championship season. Brendan Elshoff comes home in second. JD Sass, third. Dylan Hutchinson in fourth. Andrew Cardinale there in fifth. Kyle Rousey, sixth. Last car on the lead lap. Chris Beck, heartbreaker for him, leading in the closing stages and sees it all go by the wayside. He'll come home to a 7th place finish. Jesse Isidore in 8th. Raymond Berna, 9th. Andrew Hawkins, 10th. And Joshua Hessen, the points leader and champion, finishes last after a wild end-over-end barrel roll in turns 1 and 2 very early in this event. Those are the 11 starters that took the grid. That's the way they came across the line. Unfortunately, Dustin Hall not available to us to talk to the winner, so we will do the next best thing and talk to tonight's 2nd place finisher, Brendan Elshoff, get his thoughts after 75 laps here at Eldora. And Brendan, 2nd place finish. You saw a spirited battle there in front of you between Dustin Hall And Chris Beck, did you think you were going to come home with a second-place finish?
I wasn't quite expecting second place there. I guess from the sounds of it, Chris ended up running out of fuel right before that caution there. That's what ended up bringing that one out. I don't think we quite had enough to get right back up there with them without getting another caution or two to help me catch some pace back up. But it definitely was a pretty good car.
So thank you for confirming first and foremost that it was a fuel issue. That's what Brett had hypothesized as that race was winding down. Really tough to tell it was anything other than that. But, you know, guys cutting it really close on fuel to try and save some weight. How close were you to running out there before the end of it?
You know, I'm one of the few guys I think that actually puts, you know, the full amount in there. We've had a couple races this season go full length or just about close to full length, one caution maybe. So I've kind of learned my lesson from that. So I ride around usually on a full tank.
So 75 laps here at Eldora, second place finish to round out the season. Walk us through what the conditions were like, how the racing was, and how you feel about the way this championship wrapped up for you.
Track turned out pretty well. The new you know, update they've had with iRacing with the dirt made it a lot more racing than Eldora has been in the past, I think. That top side really was starting to push it. I think you saw a lot of us, you know, bouncing off the wall up there, getting really tight and really having much room to go. Championship-wise, I'm pretty happy with my result. I think we could have done a little better, but rounding out, I think it'll be a close battle between ended up second or third, but overall pretty happy.
Well, you started 7th, come home in the 2nd position. So, Brendan, I'll give you the opportunity to say hello and thank you to friends, family, sponsors, and everyone else who helps power you and that number 61 to a runner-up finish here tonight at Eldora.
Alrighty. Well, hi out there to Mom and Dad if you're watching. And for sponsors, Napa Auto Parts pays my bills. They'll let me come on to iRacing, and they're partnered up with the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund. That's on the nose of my car. I don't know if you caught a glimpse of that or not. A great charity that helps out with military personnel that are suffering from traumatic brain injuries and post-traumatic stress. If you ever have some spare change, that's a great charity to donate to.
An absolutely worthwhile cause, and glad to hear that you're partnered up with them. Congratulations on a great run here tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you the next time we cover the Dirt Racing Series here on LSRTV. Thanks, Brendan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
And from second place finisher Brendan Elshoff, we will move to third place finisher JD Sass, who is standing by with Brett Wheeler.
Yeah, thanks down here with JD. JD, first of all, congratulations on the third place run here. A little bit of a difficult night, but a podium finish to finish out the championship night. Going to be pretty happy with how your car was tonight. JD, got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
A third place run here tonight. You're going to be pretty happy with how the championship night finished up for you here tonight.
Yeah, car felt really good. I guess I was just lucky to the other two guys to run out of fuel and just moved me up into the top 3.
What kind of game plan did you have going into to the main event tonight, and how are we going to tackle the 75 lapper?
I did. I just was going in with a wish for at least a top 5, and I was running there all night, and then just two guys ran out of fuel and just hung on.
What did you make of the track conditions here tonight?
It was different. I kind of ran a higher gear, and it was pretty loose. My car was pretty loose up top, so it was pretty difficult to keep it stuck up there.
Generally, on previous versions of Eldora, we've seen that top side really be dominant here tonight. Wasn't all that dominant again tonight. The bottom side and the middle was fairly fast as well. Where were you comfortable on the racetrack?
I was very comfortable. 1 and 2 right in the middle, and 3 and 4 right on the bottom.
All right, well, look, third place here tonight after the 75 lap has finished. Sponsor shout-outs, who makes it happen for you?
I'd like to give a shout-out to HRT. They've been nothing but good help and good support and good group of guys.
All right, there we go. JD Sass out from third place tonight. We'll send it back to David Schildhouse, who has got another special guest with him.
Indeed, I do. Your championship winner here tonight in an eventful final race, and that's Joshua Hessen. And Joshua, congratulations on winning this championship. I saw you put in the chat before this one, maybe you could finally get a win, but did not go your way as you were flipping and barrel rolling down there in turns 1 and 2 very early on in this race.
Yeah, thanks guys about the championship. I practiced all week for Eldora. I wanted to win this race so bad. I got 9 top 10s and 2 top 5s, I think. Just being really consistent. That's what got us the championship.
It's a rarity to see a championship won these days without a win under the belt, but nonetheless, you've managed to do that. And I know you didn't get the most time out on the track under the green flag conditions here tonight, but to come to Eldora and race for a dirt racer on the iRacing sim, what does that mean to you?
Oh, it's absolutely awesome. I've been here, go to the World 100 every year for the last 15 years. I think me and my dad's went. Just a absolute fantastic racetrack. It's a lot topside dominant most of the time, but the bottom was really working tonight.
And after you had finally called it a night and were watching from pit lane, you saw the great battle, I'm sure, between Dustin Hall and Chris Beck. As you saw this race progress over 75 laps and the track change, what really stood out to you?
Well, Chris and Dustin, they were both excellent racers, and I knew they were going to be battling for the win if I wasn't there. But just mainly gearing, if you don't have the right gear when the track gets slick, I know he starts the tracks on like 0%, so they're muddy at the beginning of the race. But so you got to gear and tighten the car up for late in the race, so you're slow in the beginning of the race. It's just crazy all the work you got to put in a setup just to win a race.
And to complete a season and have a championship in hand, describe for the fans watching at home what that means, how that accomplishment fits into your resume as far as sim racing goes.
Yeah, I actually just started in November of 18 here, about around Thanksgiving, and I hooked up with Team HRT, and they set me up with everything I needed, to help me out a bunch, and I race dirt modifieds for fun all over the Midwest here, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, and just getting into this for the winter, and I'm probably going to do it all summer long too, and race a mod, so it's just really fun, and finally got a championship. I've been in 3 or 4 series now, so it's going pretty good.
Well, Joshua, with your unique experience and perspective, I would love to ask you this question. As someone who does it in real life situations and then jumps over here to the iRacing service, what are the similarities? What are the differences? What's your big takeaway in doing it on both sides?
All right, so racing a modified, you can really feel the car, and sitting here in this chair, you cannot feel the car doing what it wants to do. So you can't. It's hard to make changes based on that. You know, you can tell if the tires are spinning and stuff, but you can't tell if the car's getting real sideways and stuff like that. And it's just in a real car, you can hop in there and you can tell your crew chief exactly what's going on, and he can dial her in. But here, it's just all about feeling of the steering wheel and the throttle pedal, and kind of watching replays and stuff and lap times.
Well, I say you made a pretty good account for yourself here early on in your career, winning this championship of the Unreal Esports Dirt Late Model Series. So I'll give you the opportunity to say hello and thanks to everyone who's been a part of your season to power you to this championship.
Yeah, mainly I just want to thank Team HRT. Them guys, there's like 8 of us on the team, and they were messaging every day on Facebook about setups, and we help each other all the time. We run, there's 3 or 4 series we all run together, and they don't run this one for some reason. I don't know why, but them guys just helped out a bunch, and that's about all I have to thank. And thanks to Andrew for putting on the series. I mean, and Jesse Isidore for sponsoring the series. You guys for broadcasting the last race here. Just all went together really well.
And for the fans wondering at home, where can they find out more about you and your racing in the real world?
I actually have a Facebook page. It's Hessen Racing. It's on Facebook. I post on there every week where we go, how we finish, and post pictures and updates all the time. We're building a body right now for the car. We'll probably start racing here at late April, because up here in Northwest Indiana it's colder than heck still. So we're just hanging out until the weather breaks.
Excellent. Well, a job well done. Congratulations one more time on the championship. You slayed them with consistency, and that's all that matters. You're the man holding the hardware at the end of the season. So, again, congratulations. Joshua Hessen, your champion of the series.
Thank you, sir.
And from Joshua Hessen, it looks like we have a late arriving Dustin Hall. So let's see if we can't get him in here. And Brett, I will give you the honors to talk to tonight's winner.
Yeah, thanks for going down to victory lane talking with Dustin Hall. Dustin, first of all, congratulations on the win here. It was, I guess, a bit of sweet victory in a little bit of a late race contact out to down the back straight in these closing final laps. What was your take on that one? Dustin, you got a copy. Yeah, we might have some technical issues first.
Well, maybe he needs to get himself sorted out. He just joined into the TeamSpeak server, probably getting his stuff set up. But while he gets sorted out, hopefully we can talk to him. But you hear the words of a series champion like Joshua Hessen, and it didn't seem like it was bothering him too much. They didn't get to make 75 laps here to win that title, but you could hear in his voice as a real life racer and somebody who's found success here in iRacing, just how sweet it was to get that championship.
Yeah, and to do it with, as you said, no wins, it's a rarity, to go through a season, not pick up a win, and it just goes to show you the consistency. I think he had 9 top 10s going into this one out of the 10 races, and of course, not getting into that top 10 here tonight, just falling short by several laps, but nine top 10s out of 11 races. That's a pretty good strike rate.
Yeah, that is very consistent, and that is certainly a good approach to win yourself a championship. What do you say, Brett? Want to try this one more time with Dustin Hall, see if he's got himself sorted out here?
Yeah, sure. Let's go have a chat. Let's try and have a chat. Dustin, you got a copy?
Yeah, can you all hear me now?
Yes, you can. So, hey, buddy, congratulations on the win. As I said, bit of sweet victory. Talk about the contact going down the back straightaway and what you saw in those final closing stages.
Chris definitely was faster there. I kept getting in the wall and let him close back in and get to me. He probably deserved the win. I thought he was just checking up hard for the lap bar wrecking there. He told me he ran out of fuel though, which explains why he slowed up so much. Made me feel a little better about the fact that there was contact there and it turned him.
The first 17 laps, you had to stick behind him and whatnot. Once you made that lead or pass for the lead, I think you led 46 laps in the end. I think it was about 40 laps by the time he actually got back by you. Talk about that mid-race, when you guys are actually able to throw sliders on each other. What it's like, to throw big sliders on here around at Eldora.
They are definitely treacherous. I think would probably be the right word for it. They're hard to throw because you need to throw them hard enough, make sure you clear the guy, but you can't throw them too hard because there's not a lot to catch you up by the wall, and you can definitely get into it pretty easy and ruin your race.
Well, coming into this into the final event, you had to start out of position 6. Obviously, every racer wants to win every race that they want to be a part of, but did you have a realistic goal set in mind on where you wanted to be at the end of this 75-lap main event?
I mean, I think everybody that starts the race, no matter where they start, their goal, whether realistic or not, they're going to tell you it's realistic, is to win the race. But starting 6th, the plan was just to try to stay clean and pick them off if I could, and ride where I got to and where I felt I was. But we were quick right off the start, and were able to pick up a couple cars right off the start, and then Joshua's deal there on like lap 2 got me up to 2nd. I feel bad for him. Big congrats to him on winning the championship, but I wish he would have got to actually race the race tonight.
Right at the start of this main event, we've seen different lines start to develop. What did you make of the track, and how were you able to sort of work this track for this 75 lapper to come away with the victory?
It kind of surprised me a little bit at the beginning. I knew the bottom of 3 and 4 would be there, but I didn't think it would be as fast as what it was. It kind of threw me off a little bit. I figured with as tack as it was when we started to be around the top from the beginning to end, I just thought we'd wear it in and make too big of a cushion for the bottom to really work. But bottom of 3 and 4 was good for about half the race, which I love to see. It's nice when Eldora gets this way. I don't know what it was like mid-pack or anything, but normally when it gets this way, you get to see some good 2-3 wide racing. And I thought there for a while, beginning of the race, and then towards the end, me and Chris put on a pretty good race because of it too.
Yeah, you guys certainly put on one hell of a show, that's for sure. And while doing that, you're actually pulling away from the rest of the field. So, look, before we let you get out of here, of course, sponsors, shout-outs, who make all that good stuff, who makes it happen for you on this 331 car?
First off, got to thank Team Bad Racing, and all the teammates over there. Had Hayden Cardwell in my ear for most of that race, telling me to just stay calm and hit my marks. Got to thank H&M Automotive, SCP, Napa Auto Parts, Jarrett Shock Service. They're the ones that help us out. It's the team and the teammates that get us here, and all of them do theirs, especially set wise. And we had a good set in there for tonight.
All right, look, congratulations on picking up the win here on championship night from Eldora.
Thank you, Brett, and thank you guys for televising this, sharing, streaming this tonight. There we go. There's the right word.
I think the word he was looking for was broadcasting, but hey, you know what? He's in victory lane. He's probably already had a couple of sips of that champagne. David, back to you.
Indeed, a happy driver in Dustin Hall to pull down the win here tonight on championship night for the Unreal Esports Dirt Late Model Series. But that'll wrap things up here for us. Glad to always crown a champion on LSRTV. We want to thank you for making us a part of your Thursday night, wherever you tuned in from. But for my producer and partner here in the booth, Brett Wheeler, I'm David Schildhouse saying congratulations, race winner Dustin Hall. Congratulations, series champion Joshua Hessen, and good night from Eldora Speedway.
The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.